Hi everybody, this is the latest lesson here in Trans Math 9. This is finding monthly payments on a mortgage. So a little bit of a quick review here. First of all, I think somewhere along the line, not really sure actually where, we mentioned that you should not spend more than 2.5 times your annual income on a house. A mortgage is defined as a loan that the bank gives you to buy a house. And again, with such a large loan, the bank wants collateral. This is something that the bank can take if you default on your loan. And of course, as we talked about before, the default means to not pay them back or to miss some payments. The collateral in this case is the house itself. And this means that if you don't pay the loan, if you miss payments, the bank will own the home and can evict you and sell the house to get their money back. So when you buy a home, you don't truly own it until you've made all the payments to the bank. Um, Typically, that might take 25 years or so. Another way to reduce the risk to the bank is to insist on a down payment. They won't loan you the entire amount. They want to make sure that you have some. That's one way that they can ensure that they get some of their money right away. So the down payment is the amount that you pay up front before you get the loan. In Canada, the minimum down payment is 5%. That's the smallest amount percentage that you can use for down payment. Typically, people, as they get older, as they move from home to home, their down payment is higher than 5%. Any down payment under 20% will cost you more, as you have to buy what is called mortgage insurance. So it's insurance to ensure that the bank gets the money back. The bank is in the business of lending money, and they're not in the business of just giving away money. So if you can, you want to try to have a down payment of at least 20%. For a lot of people, that's quite a challenge if you're buying an expensive home, but the minimum is 5%, so you have to say it ahead of time. Okay, as part of that review, we should remember how to convert percents to decimals. Most people can do this pretty easily. Just move the decimal places 2 places to the left. Keep in mind when you've got less than 10%, there's a 0 in there, right? So if it's 5%, that decimal point 2 places over, it's going to be 0.05 and 0.07 and so on. Okay, and so remember again, once you've paid the down payment, you borrow the rest of the money for the purchase. So if we're still working with our example $120,000 house, if it's a 5% down payment, you take 120,000 times 0.05, that would give you a down payment of 6,000. And you take the purchase of the house is 120, minus the 6 is 114,000. So your loan amount, your mortgage in this case, would be 114. If you made a 7% down payment, you pay a little bit more up front, 8,400. Subtract that, your mortgage here is less. If your mortgage is less, your payments are less. But the other side of the coin is you have to have more money saved to begin with. Okay, so now let's talk about the new content here, monthly payment. Once you've paid the down payment, you have to pay monthly over what's called the amortization period. That's a big word. Amortization period of the mortgage. That is how long it takes to pay off your mortgage. That's called the amortization period. Typically, this is 25 years. Many people opt to pay it off earlier, say 20 years. In large centers where housing is more expensive, like Vancouver, Toronto, it can be 30 to 40 years to pay it off, and it can cost you a lot of money in the long run. A few years back, lots of people were buying homes that were far more they can afford and using 30 and 40 years to pay them off. The downside to that is that it costs you so much money over the long term. Best to try to keep it at 25 if you can. The length of time and the amount to pay is also dependent upon the interest rate, what the bank charges to borrow the money. Now, interest rates these days here in Canada are quite low. This is a table I found last year from May 2019. So you can see the interest rates are anywhere from about 2.85% to about 3.44%. Generally, they are bigger the longer the term, okay? And the reason the banks do that is they're gambling, they're hoping that interest rates will go up in the next year or two. So if you want to lock in your interest rate, you go for a long term period, okay? Don't worry too much about that. You're going to hear about more about that in future courses. Okay, so we will use what's called a table of values to find the monthly payments, okay? So those of you that are getting a paper package will see this. Those of you that are not, you're going to have to look online. I'll put that file up as well. This is called an amortization table, okay? And you use this to find the monthly payments. You'll notice that it says here, amortization period of mortgage loan, blended payment of principal and interest per $1,000 of loan. The per $1,000 of loan is important here. Okay, so this shows the payment for each 1,000 that you borrow. Now, if you notice two things, the longer it takes to pay off, the less you pay per month. So if you've got a 5-year amortization, you'll notice that, for example, at 1.5%, it's $17.31 per thousand. If you stretch that over 25, it's only $4. Way cheaper to go 25 years, but you got to pay that $4 a month for 20 more years. Okay, so you can go short term, pay it all really, really high, really fast, or you can stretch it out long term. Makes the payments low, but when you do the math, you find out that you pay a whole lot more in the long run. And obviously, the higher the interest rate, like say, for example, here, 5 years, 17.31. If you get a higher interest rate, like 4.25%, you pay $18.51 per thousand. So you want to try your absolute best to try to get the lowest rate possible. And then it's deciding how long you can afford to make these payments, okay? So let's do a few examples here. Cheyenne and Chris have a mortgage for $80,000, 3%. They're paying over 25 years. How much per month do they pay? And I gotta put my smartboard down so I can write out here. So the first thing you do is you take the 80,000, because this is per thousand. The first step is to take the $80,000 and you divide by 1,000, which of course is 80, okay? Because it's per thousand. So you take the mortgage amount, divide by 1,000, step one. Then we have to find our value from the table. So it's 25 years at 3%. There's 3%. And there's 25 years, 4.73. So you take that $80 and you multiply it by the number in the table. Okay, you find the number in the table, 80 times 4.73. And I said to myself, I need a calculator to get ready. There it is. And I wasn't ready. $80 times 4.73 is $378.40. That would be your monthly payment. You would pay $378.40 per month for 25 years. Every month for 25 years, you would pay $378.40, and eventually you would pay off your $80,000. Okay? Let's do another example. Justin and Aaron have a mortgage for $95,000. It's a little bit higher, 4.25%. They're paying over 25 years. How much a month do they pay? So again, step one, take the 95,000, divide by 1,000 is going to give you 95. 4.25 is this one right here on the bottom. 4.25, the bottom one, and 25 years, so it's going to be $5.40. So we're going to multiply by that 95 times 540. $513 again per month for 25 years. Okay? 12 months in a year times 25 years. One last example. Remember, you're using this amortization kit. Amber and Melody have a mortgage for $125,000 at 2.75%. These folks are paying over 20 years. How much per month do they pay? $125,000, 2.75. So we're going to take that $125,000. We're going to divide by 1,000 is always step one. We're going to get 125. And we're going to multiply by the number from the table. Uh, 2.75 is this one right here, but it's 20 years. $5.41. $5.41. So 125 times 5.41 is 676.25. And again, that's per month. Per month. Okay, now here's a little bonus here for you. I don't expect you to be able to do this, but in interest sake here, $676.25. I'll just make this page a little bit bigger. You don't need to know this, but I'm going to show you. If you're paying $676.25 times 12, that's that much per year, times 12, 8,115. and you're paying that, these folks are paying that for 20 years, I believe. Multiply that by 20. Guess how much they pay? $162,300. That's the total cost of the house over those 20 years. Remember how much was their mortgage for? $125,000. It really cost them $162,000. All that extra money is interest. Okay? So the lesson there is the sooner you can pay off your home, the better. Okay, I'm going to have this lesson posted shortly, and the assignment will be up there real soon as well. Good luck, and let me know if you got any questions.